The only reason you don't have self-esteem is that the people around you are putting you down. Let me repeat that one more time. The only reason that you are lacking enough self-esteem is that you have people around you who are putting you down. And by the way, they do so by gaining their strength from your weakness. So by putting you down, whether they are right or not, they make themselves stronger. And let me add straight away, they're probably not right. So who are people who want to put you down? Because we are talking about mentally destroyed people. So if you look the title up of this video, I'm talking about how mentally destroyed business owners can get their self-esteem back 100% plus. In other words, you can get your self-esteem back and then more, because this is about who you are, who you used to be, and getting a better understanding of yourself. So if you are that business owner, then please pay attention. And if you're not a business owner, then still please pay attention. Because mentally destroyed, if you feel like someone has mentally destroyed you, then you will need to watch this video to get an idea about what's happening to you, what has happened with you. So let's start with mentally destroyed. So basically, when people put you down, and they keep doing so over and over and over again, that comes at the expense of your self-esteem. In fact, you probably had low self-esteem to begin with, and people sniff it out. Usually they sniff it out. So something likely has happened to you, probably growing up, that has made you question yourself. It could be like something that's visible for the whole world, as in maybe you're different. We could be talking about a physical challenge. Say, for instance, that you're shorter than other people, or you have more weight than other people. You might have a limp that looks different. You might be walking different. You might be in a wheelchair. Your skin might be different, whatever reason. And the thing is, especially when it comes to children, they are so good at picking out the odd ones. And chances are they will start bullying you because they don't know how to deal with you. And bullying, by the way, is a big problem. So in my case, I was the one growing up with dark hair, dark brown eyes. And that wasn't normal back in the days in the Netherlands. So I got bullied. So it can be a myriad of things. And later on, I became a metalhead. So I dressed the part, leopard jeans and all, scarves. And it made me feel good because I was part of something. But it also made me stand out because there were only like 4 at school with, I think, 300 people who were metalheads like me. And that included me, by the way. So there can be so many reasons for being the one who is low on self-esteem. So my self-esteem wasn't that good either when growing up. Fortunately for me, I did have parents who believed in me, but I still didn't know how to stand up for myself. So did people mentally destroy me? I don't know. They took a big chunk out of me. That's something I will say. And I guess that they tried to destroy me. Some even tried to do it literally. I mean, 2 girls have choked me, and I can tell you one of those people. And I don't know if she's even if she's even aware of what she did back then. And, you know, maybe I should address her someday. I'm not sure about that. So, okay, so this is about the people who are older. So usually it starts with narcissistic parents. So they basically only tell their kids what they need to change, but they never get a compliment. And that's hard on a kid. As a child, you need confirmation that you're doing good. And like I said, that has helped me tremendously because my parents were proud of me. When you grow up and you are used to not getting any compliments, maybe worse, being put down, future partners have a tendency to recognize you. And unfortunately, it works the other way around as well. What we are familiar with is something that we usually tend to attract. And of course, and this is the thing, when we grow up and our parents are like that, you might not even realize that they are narcissistic, that they don't show any affection. You might even say like, oh, I want to be like that person. Because we don't know what the whole package entails. So, I mean, if you're not ever exposed to love and to hugs, would you miss it? Or would you start missing it the moment that you see other people do have it? And if you do, and you grow up, and you find a partner who's willing to give you that occasional hug, is that enough? Well, those are things you might want to consider. And also, there might be that partner who you expect to be like what you grew up around. And then maybe due to circumstances, you think, see, that person is not capable now, but normally, of course, he or she is, because you can't understand that people could be different. And if you stay around such a person long enough, then maybe what used to be normal isn't that normal anymore. And you create a new normal, like we are doing with COVID. And by the way, the new normal is slowly disappearing because we are getting back to our old habits. But there is some sort of new normal created. So, here's the thing. If you're long enough around those people who are putting you down, you will start to believe in yourself less and less. Especially, and that's something which really happens when it comes to narcissistic people, when they have the tendency to pull you away from everything you know and love. So, by telling you that the world around you is a very bad place and that the people you know are worthless, even maybe your kids, if we're talking about a previous marriage and you have a new partner. And how are you going to deal with that? And this is the thing. If you really want to be with someone, then you will look beyond their flaws. But they might be there, and she or he might be reinforcing them on you. Day in, day out. Day in and day out. And then what? Do you start to believe them at some point? Because if you do, I'm sorry to say so, you're basically screwed. So by isolating you from the world, that's how they increase their power over you because all you hear is basically them. Of course, they also tell you you're not good enough, but there's no one to contradict it. So when I talk about being conditioned, that's basically what people do. And the sad thing is, you probably were conditioned back in the days when you were growing up. So if you want to get away from this and get your self-esteem back, then you basically need to get out of that situation. Now here's the question. What do you do when someone is systematically putting you down? And I can tell you that there's a huge risk that you start to numb yourself or have started numbing yourself, which leads to addiction. And of course, that's another reason to put you down. And they got you right where they want you, controlled. So they basically let you ruin yourself. Having said so, the question is, when do you recognize this? When is the point that you are starting to tiptoe and you're noticing that you're tiptoeing? When do you become aware of that what you once used to love, you're not doing any longer? When do you become aware that when you're around certain people who are putting you down, you become restless? Those are markers that something is off, something is totally wrong. It's usually when you come into contact with someone, whether it's purely coincidental or because of any other reason, that you become aware like something is off. And of course, that one person that is trying to control you will say, that person is a bad person. Stay away, make a hell of a scene, so you won't even try to approach that person anymore. But then again, if that person has woken something up in you, you might, start to think. Maybe look online, look some things up. So the first thing I would suggest for you to do, if you have even an inkling of that you are being isolated from someone, and I'm also going to say this to family members and to friends who have noticed that the people around them are being drawn away by partners, by spouses, whoever. Talk to them, have a good conversation, and don't let them slip away. Because once you let them go, then the other one has full control over them. So, talk to others to see what's normal. Get your reference back. And again, to the people surrounding you, you realize what's going on, please speak up and don't give up. Think about who you once were and what your dreams were. What your dreams maybe still are, what it is you need. What maybe has led up to you becoming stuck in this situation. And write it down. Write it down. What has happened? What also could work is, would you treat the people the same way as you are being treated? Or would you do the opposite? So if you are a savior, and chances are that you are, then you expect to be saved too. So if you are that savior, then why isn't the other person saving you? If you are someone who wants to treat someone to dinner or have a good conversation or help them out, making a phone call straight away, then why aren't they there for you, doing the same thing in return? So can you see if the balance is there or if something is off? If you can see what's going on, and I realize that's a big if, but once you do, you still have a challenge ahead of you, because the challenge is to get away from what you know to be safe. And even when that safety is wrong, because the other one is putting you down, it's still safety. It's still a false comfort zone. It's comfort as in you know what it is and you don't know what it could be like, unless you talk to other people who give you a reference of what it could be like. But once you do realize, and again, this is the hard part, it's so important that you get to distance yourself from the one who's abusing you, as in putting you down. And the best way to do this is to put distance between yourself and the other, and basically changing environments. And boy, that's hard too, because where is your company? Where can you go to? How can you still interact with your employees? I mean, those are things to consider. What if your family is in a certain location? What can you do? And probably you've already been torn apart from everything you love and know. So the question is, how can you get back to your family and your children and what you know? And what if they are upset with you because you got alienated from them? So I'm not going to say that this is easy, but I will say that you are worth exploring if what's happening to you is something you deserve. And it starts by saying, I am worth being cared for. I am worth taking good care of myself. I am worth being happy. And maybe just by repeating those words, I am worth fighting for. I'm worth being happy. I'm worth living a good life. I'm worth smiling all day long. I'm worth being surrounded by loving people. Just write those things down and repeat them to yourself. If needed, set an alarm and read them out loud and feel it. And think back about those moments that you were happy. Think ahead of what it would look like if you are happy. And just be in that moment. And again, I'm not going to say that it's easy, but you've seen this video. So watch this video again and again and again. Reach out to me. And let's see what we can mean for one another. And maybe it's the simple things. Maybe looking at quote cards, maybe being part of a community. I don't know. But make sure that you get some sense of what it is you want and go work towards it. And once you do, and you realize what you are worth, then I can tell you, by looking at yourself and by having experienced what you have been through, that you will come out much stronger. If you need it, I've got a free course, Start to Speak Out Now. And you, having watched this video, can get access to it. I'll put the link in the video. But more importantly, watch this again and talk to this topic about others and think about it, because you do know deep down what is normal. You do know it. You're just maybe afraid to acknowledge it. And you don't, maybe you don't know how to access it. But you're grown up. So get out of this situation. And by the way, if for some reason you're watching this and you're not a grown up, find a grown up you can trust. Usually those are people at school. But find people you know you can trust and go talk to them. Find help. Leave a comment if you want to know more, and leave a comment if you can do something with this, and please share it with others as well.